So today, I'd like to introduce you to Joe Semprini and our new podcast called The Artist's Heart. And the reason that it's called The Artist's Heart, you'll understand once you get to meet Joe, because everything he does comes straight
Good morning,
from the heart.
everyone. Joe Semprini, Semprini Artworks. Nice to talk to you again. We'll see what we're going to attack today.
What got you, because you haven't done something, a three-dimensional in real world on canvas in a long time. So what got you motivated to do this?
My cable was off
I hear you.
for 7 days. Yeah, in back of me is my latest real painting on canvas, Lucky Star, space stations, and UFO. So it's got a lot going on. I like busy stuff. There's one I have over my bed. It's on the site. It's similar. It just has a white canvas, but it doesn't have UFOs, but it's similar in nature as far as, you know, you have the sun there and then you have multimedia. And I actually tried a few new things, which you probably can't see in the picture or on this, where I actually have some gold running through the center of the painting, which if you blow it up a little, you could see it, which is kind of neat. And I got some glitter actually on the star, so it sparkles a little bit in a couple other areas where the UFOs are. So I tried different things, you know, to make it interesting. But actually, I hadn't done one in a while because I did one earlier in the year, the hurricane or the cosmic cyclone, but this is the second one I've done, and I got about 13 canvases out, which I wanted to have done by the end of the winter, and it's already July, so I'm way behind schedule. But it was just something I had in mind that I wanted to do, similar to the other one I had done in my bedroom, and it's older styling, but it's lively, and I like it. It kind of pops, and I bought a bunch of new colors that I wanted to try out, which are actually, some of them are neon. So you could actually take a blue light and you get some reflecting like neon at night. So it's just kind of a combination of a bunch of things. And it actually took me longer. I started in December, but I had a knee operation, so I couldn't stand well. But we got it done. It took a little longer than I wanted. But another one is in the can, as they say. So I have a bunch of canvases, actually this size, 24 by 36, which can be printed on canvas on our website, the exact same size, so you don't lose anything in the dimension. It's exactly the same. So you could get a print of this. Unless you want to buy the original, it's a little more costly. I'll tell you, it took me a lot of hours to complete it. This, I don't know why, but it took a long time to get this one done.
Let me ask, is this in acrylics as well?
Got acrylics, it's got car paints, enamels, it's got some latex, so it's multimedia, all different, you know, acrylic mainly, but latex, car paints, enamels, and glitter glue, which is a new item, which I just got an idea. My sister sends me pictures or cards all the time with glitter on them and stars and stuff like that. And it is 4th of July, so it is kind of, I could have waited to bring it out on the 4th of July, but which is her birthday. And it's a little explosive. It looks like fireworks too, and you know, a lot of energy going on. So, you know, it's that time of year.
I really like the black canvas. Now, is that where you start? Do you have to prepare the canvas?
Well, this is exactly the reverse of the paintings on glass. In the paintings on glass, you paint your foreground first and your background last. This, you paint your background last and your foreground first. So this is actually more difficult because actually you paint part of the background last too, all the little stars and stuff. So you have to tape up all that stuff that you don't want all the big mess on, and just get the stars in the background and whatever. So it's exactly the reverse of the paintings on glass.
I don't think that came across clearly. So you paint the black first.
Right, that's your background. And then all the other stuff is pretty much your foreground. But you have some 3D dimensions there, but not as much as the paintings on glass. You could really add different touches to the paintings on glass. With spray paint, you get a 3D effect as part of the background. So it's a 3 or 4 step process to finish it. So it looks easy, but like the red sun there, you know, you have to tape up that whole area because when you nuke it later, to get all the stars and, you know, gewgaws that I put on there, which are like energy type things going in the atmosphere, they all come last. So it's almost exactly the reverse of the paintings on glass.
Very cool. Now, when you're doing this, are you listening to music?
Yeah, I listen to jazz predominantly. The reason I finally got it finished is my cable went out for 8 days, so I had nothing to watch and nothing to do. So I got some artwork done. So I really enjoy it because you put on some jazz and you really get spacey. My stuff comes out a little astral, you know, but that's my nature. So I like a lot of energy. You know, I'm an Aries, so it's you know, got a lot of energy going, the first sign of the zodiac.
So tell me, if it's jazz, what jazz music is this one? If it were music.
You know, I put on like Pandora, and it has like an accompaniment of all different artists, and you know, whichever. I have it on a certain station that has some pretty cool stuff. I actually have several that are really good because you just one song after the other. You don't have to mess with, you know, playing stuff. Although when my cable was out, and that part of that is not true because my cable went out and I went back to I have a large stereo Yamaha thing. It's maybe $5,000 or more. And I haven't been using it since Apple phones came out and whatever, or Alexa. And I turned that on. I was watching a FM radio, the 70s, 80s music, which is really fun music. I mean, a lot of the artists back then, you know, I was using my Shazam to try and remember what artists did each song. So it was pretty fun. And I was actually using that for part of this painting. So it does reflect what you're doing.
Remember when you talked about your pen and ink, your etchings, we might call them, and you said that you doodled. Is what is on this work symbols or doodles, or what makes you come up with those?
Well, I mean, I like UFOs, okay? I did some of the digital UFO ones. They came out fun. Like there's different UFOs on here. There's one here, you know, that you could draw. You know, this is like the space station up here, and it has like a big antenna, which I don't know if you could see, and another aerial type thing coming out here, you know, and then here's another UFO down here, which you could draw, you know, and here's another UFO down here, a big one, which, you know, a smaller one. So there's UFOs, space station, and then my lucky star up there. Yeah, you know, so yeah, it's similar. It's like drawing, only painting. And my drawings are a little more precise. You know, you could do them exactly the way you want. It's more like drafting. This, you're working with paintbrushes, and it doesn't always, you know, the paint is either thin or thick, or, you know, it's not exact science where, okay, I'm going to pick this color because you do this doodle actually here. It's just a doodle. That's a doodle, but it goes through the sun, comes back up over here. So that's like kind of a doodle. And these here are just like, energy things going through the universe, exploding. And little tiny UFO things down here, or this is the mothership. And then you got several smaller ones up there. So, whether you see all that or not, but that's it. You have a mothership here with the engine and, and this another little mothership or whatever. And then you have several smaller ones that are out running around. But it's similar to drawing, but you're using paintbrushes or you're using paint knives. Different things are different strokes, and I try and get a different effect with each tool I'm using, okay? And then some I just drip on, to get the stars and whatever, that's all car paints and whatever. They are reflective, they're all metallic. And there's one here, black is my favorite one, which I said, I don't know if I should put black on there, but when you're looking at the painting, it really is reflective. So it looks pretty cool, like little black holes or whatever. But I'm into the universe and the stars, spaceships and whatever. I've always been fascinated. I haven't never seen a UFO. My sister has. I think, and I live right near Catalina. You could see Catalina, which is supposed to be some kind of base out there in the ocean, but I've never seen one. I sit out there watching all the time. I'd love to see one. I think they're fascinating.
Yeah, what I like about it, it has so much going on that if I were to own this, I think every time I go by it, I'll see something different.
Yeah, exactly. You do it in stages, and you one corner or whatever time, and you decide, okay, I'm going to put this here, put that there. You have a concept, but then as you're going, you change and you say, oh, I want that bigger or smaller, and you don't know, unfortunately, how it's all going to come till you're done. Because as you go, if you don't want paint getting on certain areas, I tape over them so that like this doesn't get paint on it, because I want it bright and perfect. And then these other ones, I don't want them to ruin. And then at the end, I do the drip thing to get the back part of the background stars. So when you take all the tape off and whatever, you get your final product, and you can either be pleased or not. But it's all fun. I just do it. It's fun. It's creative, and there's enough going on in the world where I want to kind of space out and take an hour or two and not think about all the crazy things that are going on.
You brought something up that I wanted to ask you about as well. How do you know when you're done? How do you know that the painting is done?
Sometimes you do too much. And I mean, you can look at this and you go, wow, he did way too much. But not really. I mean, it's a lot. It's busy, but if you take steps back from it, it really looks nice on the wall. If it's nice white area where there's nothing going on. And it is busy, but I don't think it's too much. But you get to a point where you go, okay, I think you have enough stuff, on there that you're done. But I have done stuff where I've done too much, and you draw one line too much, and it screws up the whole painting. Maybe you wouldn't see it as a bystander, but I could tell, well, that's too much. But I do think a lot of my stuff is busy. But if you look at my sculptures that are, especially the outdoor, indoor, Calder, Moreau types stuff, it's all red, white, blue, multicolored with stars and arrows and little squigglies, and spatial type things. But if you did an art show, there's colors in the paintings, and you look at the sculptures and you go, oh, it all fits together. So not the chrome stuff. This is just the painted sculptures, mobiles, and the like. And if you put it all in a show, it would definitely make sense. You'd have sculptures, paintings, and you could do some of the multimedia drawings that we have that are similar in the colors combinations.
Yeah, so when you started this, is this what you had in your head, or does it?
Well, yeah, I mean, a concept, and then you start and you go, okay, what do I want the space station to look like? What do I want the UFOs kind of to look like? And I did some of those in the digital, and I have a few drawings with UFOs in them, not that many, just pen and ink with multicolored lights and stuff. So, okay, I started, you have a little tiny, and that actually is a spaceship, but it looks like a man too. Could be a guy with a suit on, a spacesuit, but it's actually a small UFO. This is a giant one, and you could actually, it's a see-through, so it's some kind of glass and then you have two little engines and whatever. And you don't know, that's the fun part. When you're doing that, you say, okay, what do I want this part to look like? And then you do it in your head. Had I had that prematurely? No. Yeah, I wanted to make UFOs, but I didn't know what they were going to look like.
Yeah. James just hopped on, so I wonder if that means he has a question.
James is alive and well.
Yeah. I do though. I was, because you're talking about if you did look at your work, combining the 3D stuff, the sculpture, you'd see a continuity of aesthetic running through all of it. But I know you just sort of recently started experimenting with Canva and doing art on the iPad. And I'm just wondering if going digital for a while had any influence when you returned to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, actually, because somebody made a comment, they saw this yesterday, they said, wow, you really improved. I don't know how much they looked at my stuff, but the one thing on the digital is it is easier to do because you could erase stuff. Like you put something down like whatever, this part here, actually down in here, I made a mistake. You can't see it now. I know it's there. You can't really even see it, but on the digital one, you can erase it. Or if you don't like this color, that color doesn't look good, let me take it off and put another color. You could keep the same shape, just put a different color. Or you don't like these colors, you take them off. If you don't like the whole thing, you could take it off. While you're doing that, you can't do it later. While you're on that type of shape, you could change the color. Oh, that red, it doesn't look good. I want to try green or silver, or whatever. And so the digital is easier to do in that reflect, but I did those other UFOs on the digital, and so it kind of gave me the idea to do this.
Yeah.
And yeah, the digital one has a lot of different textures and shapes and brush sizes. So you could do different combinations, and like a thing running through here could have a total different, like these are pretty flat. But on the digital artwork, you could have a texture that runs through it and the color. So you have a total different look because you could do a lot of different textures in that same doodle. So it's a little, you have more to choose from. Let's put it that way. I suppose you could paint those things, but they're very intricate, and like some are little stars. Like I painted these little stars, but they have these stars that boom, you just hit it and you get a bunch of stars, but they're already done in the program. So you don't have to paint, and it takes time to just paint a little star. And these don't come as well as the ones are more precise in that program. It's a computer program, so it's the sizes, but you could blow them up. Like you could have big stars and make them smaller or whatever. So you have a lot of different choices on the, and the digital one too, you could paint like a whole like cloudish background or a cluster. on the digital one, which is harder to do on here. I've done it before, but the procedure on that is really crazy. You actually put your background and your stars, and then you kind of wash it off. And about before they dry, and you get a cloud of water, and then you just wipe out the parts you don't want, and the cloud stays as it dries. But it's a lot of work. Where on the digital one, you said, oh, here, cloud, and it puts it up there. If you don't like it, you erase the part of it. So it's interesting. It's very similar but different. I mean, different. You don't have the big mess. I had paint all over the floor. Whereas the digital, you could save it. Just go back to it, and sit on the couch, and you're not getting all full of paint and gloves and paintbrushes all over.
Yeah, so now I appreciate the work that goes into this. We just put this up on the website today. So it'll be on the last page of the gallery, of the painting gallery. And also, though, what's so cool is we have a price for if you want the original piece. And how much what would you price? We priced it, what would you price it at?
That's a funny, it's funny, you think about that while you're doing it, for sure. And I put a lot of man hours in this. I was like, wow. As a financial advisor, which I was for 25 years, I'd say I make $400 to $500 an hour, either doing trades or consulting or whatever. And you're never going to get that kind of money from this painting. I would have to charge $12,000, which maybe that's what it's worth. Man hours today, I mean, everybody's getting more for their time. So that's a good question. I mean, you could set a price, okay, I think, the amount of time and energy I put in, I'd have to get at least $3,000 minimum to even cover the amount of time I spent on it. I had to do the background 3 times just to get it, make sure the black was black and not, showing through. If the paint is watery, it's going to come thinner. If it's thicker, it's harder to put down. You never know until you get going. But then I was tied up for a couple of months with my knee. But after that, I mean, the past couple of weeks, I was doing this at least 2 to 3 hours a day, intermittently. And, you're not going to get $400 or $500 an hour.
No, well, we priced it at $4,000. So,
I mean, that's a low end, no. But if you took it to a gallery, they probably want $6,000, $7,000. And whether somebody wants to pay, I don't know. That's up to the buyer. Whether they think it's worth it, and part of it's your background and your talent, how long you've been doing stuff, and where you've showed and all that stuff. Which I have a pretty diverse background of exhibits in all over the United States, London, Japan. So that's, and I got top dollar for stuff years ago. And it's a whole new realm out there with, people selling online, and, there's cheap vendors, and then there's more expensive art dealers. But I saw an art piece yesterday on a corporate art buy, and it was very similar to my car paint drawings. In fact, it was the same styling. I don't know what types of paint they used, but I'm sure they were selling it for a considerable amount of money. And it was not half as good as mine as far as I am concerned. The colors were washy, and it looked like it was just thrown together, but God knows who did it, whatever. So it's not an exact science. I mean, you could get an outside person to say, okay, this is worth X, Y, Z, because he grades paintings. But, where did he go to school, and how much art has he done? So, how much do they really know? You know what I mean?
yeah,
If
but
someone likes it, they buy it. It's that simple. If it moves them, and I've had people, there was a story of an attorney in Beverly Hills who was buying one of my paintings, and I worked out with him at the gym, and he came over to my house and he goes, wow, I like that. And I had a painting on the porch I was going to throw away. And he looked, he said, well, I like these, this, and he said, bring them all down my office. So I brought them down the office, and then he goes, well, where's the other one? I go, what are those? He goes, it was on the porch. And I go, oh, you want that one? He goes, yeah, that's the one I really like. And he paid like $5,000 for it, and I was ready to throw it away. So, you know, you never know what people are gonna want and they need, or, you know. And there's another story, I don't know if I told you, where a friend of mine was living with me. He was a hairdresser at the time in Beverly Hills, Shirley Temple's old house, and he brought a lady up and he goes, show your art, and she's very rich. So I showed her a sculpture that was, you know, stainless steel, it's very small, like a coffee table piece. And I said, you know, I want $1,000. And she goes, oh, okay. And she left, and he says, what? Why did you do that? She would have paid like $10,000, $15,000. She didn't think it was worth anything after you said it was $1,000. So you never know what's going through the other person's mind. You know, you want to get paid for your labor. The paints are very expensive. The canvases are very expensive. So there's a lot entailed in doing stuff. You know, not just you're painting it. You have, you know, the price on the paints have gone up, canvases, everything. So, you know, whether, you know, you got paints and canvas, you know, worth X amount of dollars, whether somebody likes it or not. But I've seen, you know, stuff out there that I go, God, you're getting that kind of price for that. So you don't know. You don't know. It's random.
Right, but what's so nice about your website is maybe I don't have the $4,000, but I really love this, so I could get it in a reprint.
Right. I mean, it's the exact same size. That's kind of, I bought a whole bunch of canvases that size, so that it's not going to lose much in the reprint. It's the exact same size. Whereas I had another one done where it was square and parts were cut off when you did that size. So you don't want to lose the effect of the painting. You want, so, and you could get a, you know, reasonable paint on canvas, not, you know, post, you know. So it's pretty good deal as far as I'm concerned.
Great. Is there anything else you want to tell me about this painting before we thank you?
No, I hope my lucky star works. You know, at this time in here, I could use, you know, I put that in there too because, you know, I like putting stars, Holy Spirits, different things that guide you, you know, and hopefully guide others. And the whole message behind anything I do is healing, you know, through art, or getting people to feel better. You know, if they're having a bad day or something, this might make them have worse day, who knows? But they could look at it and for even a fraction of a second, I mean, this would look perfect in a kid's hospital, you know, in a cancer center or a child's, because it's very lively color, and they would pick out the stuff. Maybe it would look different to them, but I could picture it in that type of environment, or a hotel or a lobby, but it's kind of lively, and I think kids would like it, you know, as well as in a modern type home. So that's the effect. That's why I do these, is to heal people with art. That's why we have the whole series, you know, the artist's heart is, you know, to get your heart feeling a little better.
Well, thank you from my heart to your heart, Joe.
Thank you, dear. You know, happy 4th of July. And I think this just expresses that type of season. Although it could be Christmas and it looks like a Christmas tree with a star on top. I don't know. It is what it is, but I enjoy doing it, and it's fun, and that's therapeutic for me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.